Commander Zixtel pressed his clawed hand against the smooth surface of his ship's control panel. 3 long months he had been out here in the emptiness of space, far from his homeworld. His job was simple: find new planets that his people could take over. The Valkyrie had been doing this for hundreds of years. They would find a world, study it, and if they liked what they saw, they would claim it. The Valkyrie thought they were the strongest beings in the galaxy. Their ships could cut through solid rock like it was soft mud. Their weapons could destroy entire moons if they wanted to. In all their travels across the stars, they had never met anyone who could challenge them. Some planets had primitive creatures that barely knew how to make fire. Others had developed basic space travel, but nothing that worried the Valkyrie. Zixtel stretched his long arms and looked out at the stars through his ship's viewing screen. This particular solar system looked ordinary. A yellow star with several planets spinning around it. The third planet from the sun had lots of water and green patches. It looked like it might have life on it. The fourth planet was red and dry. Probably dead. Nothing special here, he thought, but then his ship's computer started making strange beeping sounds. Zixtel leaned forward and checked the readings. Something was out there between the third and fourth planets. Something big. Something that definitely did not belong there naturally. His heart started beating faster as he adjusted his ship's sensors to get a better look. What he saw made his blood run cold. A massive structure was floating in the darkness of space. It was clearly built by intelligent beings, but it was unlike anything the Valkyrie had ever seen before. The thing was huge. Zixtel had seen the biggest ships in the Valkyrie fleet. Their mighty dreadnoughts that could carry thousands of warriors. This thing made those ships look like tiny insects. It had to be at least 3 times bigger than anything his people had ever built. But size was not what made Zixtel afraid. It was what the ship was made of. His computer tried to identify the materials but kept showing error messages. Whatever this thing was built from, it was not in any Valkyrie database. The metal looked dark and strange, with patterns carved into its surface that seemed to shift and move when he looked at them. The most frightening part was the weapons. Zixtel had studied every type of space weapon known to his people. He could recognize plasma cannons, energy beams, and missile tubes from light years away. But this ship had things he could not identify. Rows and rows of openings covered its surface like the eyes of some sleeping monster. Each one looked like it could unleash destruction beyond imagination. Zixtel moved his ship closer, but very carefully. He activated all his stealth systems so the strange vessel would not detect him. As he got nearer, his instruments picked up more disturbing details. The ship was not just sitting there dead in space. It was alive with energy. Power flowed through it in patterns that made no sense to Valkyrie science. He had to report this discovery to his superiors. Zixtel activated his long-range communication system and sent a message back to Valkyrie space. The message would take several hours to reach command headquarters, but this was too important to wait. While he waited for a response, Zixtel continued studying the mysterious ship. The more he looked, the more questions he had. Where did it come from? Who built it? And most importantly, was it empty or were there beings inside it right now, watching him? The ship's design was completely alien to everything the Valkyrie knew about space travel. Their own vessels were built with smooth, curved lines and made from crystalline materials that could focus energy. This thing looked rough and angular, like it was built for war rather than exploration. Every surface seemed designed to intimidate and destroy. Hours passed before Zixtel received a reply from his commanders. The message was short but clear. Investigate further, but stay hidden at all costs. Do not let them know you are there. Gather as much information as possible about their technology and capabilities. Zixtel felt a chill run down his spine. His superiors were scared. In all his years of service, he had never seen the Valkyrie leadership show fear of anything. They had conquered 47 star systems without breaking a sweat. They had defeated every enemy they had ever faced. But this unknown ship had them worried enough to order extreme caution. He moved his ship into a better position to scan the mysterious vessel. His instruments worked overtime, recording every detail they could detect. The energy readings were off the charts. Whatever powered this thing was far beyond Valkyrie understanding. It was like comparing a campfire to the heat of a star. The ship's hull appeared to be made of layers upon layers of different materials, each one serving a purpose that Zixtel could not figure out. Some sections looked like they could absorb energy attacks. Others seemed designed to deflect physical impacts. It was as if the builders had anticipated every possible threat and designed defenses against them all. As Zixtel continued his observations, he noticed something that made his hands shake. The ship was not completely still. Very slowly, almost too slowly to detect, it was rotating. Not randomly, but in a deliberate pattern, as if it was scanning the space around it, as if it was looking for something or someone. The thought hit him like a physical blow. What if this ship was not abandoned? What if there were beings inside it right now, just as aware of him as he was of them? What if they were simply waiting to see what he would do? Zixtel tried to calm himself. His stealth systems were the best the Valkyrie had ever developed. No one had ever detected him when he did not want to be found. But looking at this alien vessel, with its incomprehensible technology and impossible design, he was not so sure anymore. The more he studied the ship, the more he realized how little his people truly knew about the galaxy. They had always assumed they were the most advanced civilization out there. They had never encountered anything that challenged that belief. Until now, this ship represented something new and terrifying. It represented the possibility that somewhere out there, among the countless stars, was a civilization that made the mighty Valkyrie look like primitive savages. A civilization that could build weapons and ships beyond their wildest imagination. Zixtel looked at his instruments one more time, making sure he was recording everything properly. Whatever happened next, his people needed to know about this discovery. They needed to understand that they were not alone at the top of the galactic food chain anymore. The universe had just become a much more dangerous place, and the Valkyrie were about to learn that they were not the apex predators they thought they were. Something else was out there in the darkness between the stars. Something that could build ships like floating fortresses and weapons that defied understanding, and worst of all, Zixtel had the growing feeling that this mysterious vessel knew he was there, watching and waiting to see what the small alien scout would do next. Dr. Chen was having her morning coffee when everything changed. She had been working aboard the massive human warship for 3 years now, studying alien life forms that the crew occasionally encountered during their deep space missions. Most days were quiet and routine. The ship would drift through space in low-power mode while the crew performed maintenance and continued their scientific research. The ship was called the Retribution, and it was one of humanity's most advanced vessels. It had been built not for conquest, but for exploration and defense of human space. The crew of 800 men and women came from all over Earth, united by their desire to push the boundaries of human knowledge and protect their homeworld from any threats that might emerge from the vast darkness of space. Chun was reviewing her notes about a strange plant specimen they had collected from a moon 3 weeks ago, when the ship's artificial intelligence spoke to her through the wall speakers. The AI had a calm, pleasant voice that never showed emotion, but today something was different. Dr. Chun, please report to the bridge immediately. We have detected an unknown vessel conducting scans of our ship. Chun nearly dropped her coffee cup. In all her time aboard the Retribution, they had never encountered another intelligent species actively spying on them. Sure, they had found ruins and artifacts from dead civilizations, but nothing alive and curious enough to study them. Back, she quickly made her way through the ship's corridors to the bridge. The Retribution was so large that it took her nearly 10 minutes to walk from her laboratory to the command center. Along the way, she could feel the ship beginning to wake up around her. Lights that had been dimmed were growing brighter. The gentle humming of sleeping systems was becoming a deeper, more powerful sound as the ship's massive engines prepared to come online. Captain Rodriguez was standing in front of the main viewing screen when Chun arrived. He was a calm man who rarely showed excitement, but she could see tension in his shoulders as he watched the data flowing across the displays around him. "What do we know about them?" Chen asked, looking at the screen that showed a small dot in. "The distance. Not much yet," the captain replied. "They've been watching us for about 20 minutes. Their ship is small, probably a scout vessel. But the interesting thing is their technology. The AI says their scanning methods are completely different from anything in our databases." Shun felt a thrill of excitement mixed with nervousness. This was what she had trained for her entire career. First contact with an alien intelligence. But as she watched the data streams, she began to understand why the captain looked worried. "Captain," the AI's voice filled the bridge, "I have completed my analysis of the alien vessel. Their technology appears to be based on crystalline energy manipulation. Their weapon systems are designed to focus concentrated energy beams that could cut through most known materials." "Are they a threat?" Rodriguez asked. "Unknown?" "However, their scanning intensity suggests they are gathering detailed intelligence about our capabilities. I recommend we demonstrate that we are aware presence." The captain nodded and gave the order that would change everything. "All systems online. Show them we're awake." What happened next was like watching a sleeping giant come to life. The Retribution had been drifting quietly through space, most of its systems powered down to save energy. But now, massive fusion reactors deep in the ship's core began generating enormous amounts of power. Energy flowed through kilometers of advanced circuits and systems that had been designed by the brightest minds humanity had ever produced. Chun watched her instruments as the ship's sensor arrays activated. These were not simple radar systems like the ones used on Earth centuries ago. These sensors could detect and analyze objects from thousands of kilometers away, identifying their composition, energy output, and even the molecular structure of their hulls. But the most impressive part was what happened to the ship itself. The Retribution had been built with adaptive technology that allowed it to reconfigure based on different situations. As it powered up, sections of the hull began to shift and move. Weapon systems that had been hidden beneath smooth metal surfaces emerged like flowers blooming in fast motion. Shield generators created shimmering fields of energy around the ship's most vulnerable areas. "My God," Chun whispered as she watched the transformation. Even after 3 years aboard the ship, she had never seen it fully powered and ready for combat. It was beautiful and terrifying at the same time. The captain turned to his communications officer. "Do we know their language?" "The AI has been analyzing their scanning signals," the officer replied. "It's identified patterns that suggest a complex language structure. The computer thinks it can create a basic translation program." "How long will that take?" "Already done, sir. The AI works fast." Chen was amazed but not entirely surprised. Human artificial intelligence had advanced incredibly in the past century. The ship's computer could process more information in 1 second than a human brain could handle in a lifetime. Learning a new alien language from scanning signals was exactly the kind of task it had been designed for. "Open a channel," Captain Rodriguez ordered. What happened next would be talked about in alien civilizations for generations to come. The Retribution, now fully awake and bristling with weapons that could level mountains, sent a message across space in perfect alien language. "Unknown vessel, you are in violation of Terran defense perimeter. State your purpose or prepare to be boarded." Chen watched the alien ship on the screen and saw it suddenly jerk in space as if the pilot had been startled. She could almost imagine the panic that must be going through the alien's mind right now. They had been watching what they thought was a dead or sleeping ship, only to discover it was very much alive and aware of their presence. But the message itself was what really mattered. The humans had not only detected the alien scout, but they had learned the alien language and could speak it fluently within minutes. From the alien's perspective, this must have seemed impossible. "Sir," the tactical officer called out, "the alien vessel is powering up its engines. I think they're preparing to run." Captain Rodriguez nodded calmly. "Let them go, but keep our sensors locked on them. I want to know everything about their technology." As Chun watched, the alien ship suddenly accelerated away from them at incredible speed. But the Retribution sensors kept tracking it, analyzing every aspect of its propulsion system and energy signatures. The human ship was learning everything it could about this new species, gathering intelligence that would be crucial if they ever met again. "Doctor," the captain said, turning to Chun, "I want you to analyze everything we learned about them. Their biology, their technology, their language patterns, everything." Chun nodded, her mind already racing with possibilities. This first contact had lasted only minutes, but it had revealed so much. The aliens had advanced technology, but they had been caught completely off guard by human capabilities. They had not expected the sleeping ship to wake up, and they certainly had not expected humans to learn their language so quickly. As the alien vessel disappeared into the distance, Chun realized that this encounter would change everything. Word would spread among alien civilizations about the strange ship that could wake from sleep and speak any language. About the humans who had technology that could adapt and evolve in real time. The age of human isolation was over. The galaxy now knew that Earth's children were out here among the stars, and they were far more advanced and dangerous than anyone had imagined. Captain Rodriguez stood on the bridge of the Retribution, watching the alien ship flee into the darkness of space. His years of military training told him that letting a potential spy escape was dangerous. This alien scout had been studying their ship for over 20 minutes, gathering intelligence about human technology and capabilities. Now it was racing back to its home territory, probably to report everything it had learned. The captain had dealt with situations like this before, though never with aliens. During the early days of human space exploration, there had been conflicts between different human colonies. Pirates and hostile groups would send scouts to study defensive positions before launching attacks. Rodriguez had learned that sometimes the best defense was to show potential enemies exactly what they would be facing if they chose to start a fight. "Helm," he called out to his navigation officer, "plot an intercept course. We're going to follow our new friend home." The young officer at the helm station looked surprised. "Sir, are you sure? We don't know how many ships they might have waiting for them." Rodriguez smiled grimly. "That's exactly what we need to find out. If this species is planning to cause trouble for humanity, I'd rather deal with them now than wait for them to bring a fleet to Earth's doorstep." Dr. Chun, who was still on the bridge studying the alien ship's energy readings, looked up from her instruments. "Captain, shouldn't we try to communicate with them first? Maybe they're just curious about us, not hostile." "Maybe," Rodriguez replied. "But they were spying on us while we were in maintenance mode. That suggests they were looking for weaknesses, not trying to make friends. Either way, we need more information about what we're dealing with." The captain turned to his engineering chief. "Commander Park, how fast can we go?" Park grinned. The Retribution's propulsion system was his pride and joy. "Sir, we can engage the quantum tunnel drive whenever you're ready. That little alien ship won't know what hit them." Rodriguez nodded. "Engage pursuit. Maximum stealth protocols. I want to learn everything we can about them without starting an interstellar war." What happened next would become legend among both human and alien spacefaring cultures. The Retribution activated its most advanced propulsion system, technology that had taken humanity decades to develop and perfect. Instead of simply moving through space at high speed, the quantum tunnel drive folded space itself, allowing the massive ship to travel vast distances almost instantaneously. From Zixtal's perspective inside the fleeing alien scout ship, the chase began as a relief. He had escaped the terrifying human vessel and was racing toward the safety of Valkyrie space at maximum speed. His ship's engines were pushed beyond their normal limits, but he was confident that no vessel could match his speed over long distances. Then his instruments detected something impossible. The massive human ship was following him. Not only following, but gaining ground despite being 3 times larger than his own vessel. Zixtal checked his readings again and again, unable to believe what he was seeing. "This cannot be happening," he muttered to himself in his native language. Valkyrie ships were the fastest in the known galaxy. Their crystalline engines could push them to incredible velocities that would tear apart ships built by lesser species. But this human vessel was keeping pace as if his maximum speed was nothing more than a casual cruise. Back on the Retribution, the crew was amazed by their ship's performance. Commander Park monitored the quantum drive systems while calling out status reports. All systems green, Captain. We're maintaining position about 50,000 kilometers behind the target. They can't detect us through the spatial distortion field. Captain Rodriguez was impressed by the alien ship's speed. That's actually quite impressive technology they have. Their engines are putting out enormous amounts of energy. Yes, sir, Park agreed. But they're also creating a lot of heat and electromagnetic signatures. Our sensors are learning everything about their propulsion system just by watching them run. This was exactly what Rodriguez had hoped for. The Retribution was not just following the alien scout, it was studying everything about their technology. Every energy pulse from their engines, every course correction, every communication signal was being recorded and analyzed by the ship's artificial intelligence. Dr. Chen was fascinated by what they were learning. Captain, look at this! Their ship seems to be powered by some kind of crystalline matrix that focuses energy in very specific patterns. It's completely different from our fusion-based systems, but it's actually quite elegant. Are they trying to communicate with anyone? Rodriguez asked. Yes, sir, the communications officer replied. They've sent several burst transmissions toward what appears to be their home territory. The AI is working on translating them, but they seem to be emergency signals. Rodriguez nodded. That made sense. The alien scout was warning his people about the encounter with human technology. The question was, how would the alien civilization respond to that warning? For 3 days, the chase continued across the vast emptiness of space. Zixtal pushed his ship to its absolute limits, but the human vessel stayed with him every kilometer of the way. Worse, he began to notice that the humans were not just following him. They were studying him. His ship's computer detected scanning. Beams that were so sophisticated they could analyze the molecular structure of his hull without him even noticing. The humans were learning about Valkyrie metallurgy, energy systems, and even the biological signatures of his life support systems. By the time this chase was over, the humans would know more about Valkyrie technology than many Valkyrie scientists. But what truly terrified Zixtal was how effortlessly the human ship seemed to anticipate his moves. Every time he changed course or tried an evasive maneuver, the human vessel was already adjusting to match him. It was as if they could read his mind or predict his tactics before he even decided on them. The truth was even more impressive than Zixtal imagined. The Retribution's AI was analyzing his flight patterns in real time, learning from every decision he made. The computer could process thousands of possible scenarios in seconds, predicting the most likely courses of action based on physics, fuel consumption, and tactical considerations. Commander Park was amazed by what he was seeing on his instruments. Captain, their ship is actually quite sophisticated. Look at how efficiently their engines convert energy. And their hull design is optimized for speed in a way I've never seen before. Could we build something like that? Rodriguez asked. Maybe, but we'd have to completely rethink our approach to propulsion. Their technology is based on different principles than ours. Not better or worse, just different? Dr. Chun was studying the biological readings from the alien ship. Captain, I'm detecting one life form aboard their vessel. Whoever is piloting the ship has been alone out there for months. The stress readings are off the charts. Rodriguez felt a moment of sympathy for the alien pilot. Being alone in space for months was difficult for anyone, and now the poor creature was being chased by a ship that probably seemed like a nightmare made real. As they approached what seemed to be the edge of alien territory, Rodriguez made a decision. Helm, drop back to long range. I don't want to enter their space uninvited. Let's see what kind of reception committee they send out to meet our friend. The Retribution slowed and maintained position just outside the alien territory's boundary. From this distance, they could observe what happened when the scout ship reached safety, but they would not be seen as an immediate threat. When Zixtal finally crossed into Valkyrie space, he transmitted the most important message of his life. His warning about human capabilities would spread throughout the alien empire within hours, changing everything their civilization thought they knew about their place in the galaxy. Rodriguez smiled as he watched alien military ships rushing toward their border. Well, Dr. Chun, I think we just announced humanity's presence to our new neighbors. Let's head home and report what we've learned. As the Retribution turned toward Earth, its computers were already analyzing terabytes of data about alien technology, language, and capabilities. The 3-day chase had taught humanity more about their galactic neighbors than years of peaceful contact might have accomplished. Fleet Admiral Kethmos had ruled the Velkari hegemony for over 200 years. In all that time, he had never experienced fear. His people had conquered 47 star systems, defeated every enemy they had encountered, and built the largest military force in their region of the galaxy. The Velkari were apex predators, and Kethmos was their ultimate leader, but as he sat in his command chamber, reviewing the sensor data that Commander Zixtal had brought back from his encounter with the humans, something cold and unfamiliar settled in his chest. For the first time in his long life, Admiral Kethmos was genuinely afraid. The holographic display in front of him showed the massive human warship in perfect detail. Every weapon port, every energy conduit, every structural element had been recorded by Zixtal-S sensors during the 3-day chase. The data was so complete that Velkari engineers could probably build a replica of the ship's exterior if they wanted to, but they could never duplicate what made it truly terrifying. "Computer," Kethmos commanded, "analyze the power output readings." From the human vessel. The ship's artificial intelligence responded immediately. "Admiral, the human ship's energy generation exceeds our largest dreadnought by a factor of 12. Their power distribution system appears to be based on controlled fusion reactions that we do not fully understand." Kethmos felt his hands tremble slightly. 12 times more powerful than their best warship. That meant one human vessel could potentially defeat an entire Velkari battle fleet. But the power readings were only the beginning of the nightmare. "What about their weapon systems?" "Analysis is incomplete due to the weapons not being fired during the encounter. However, based on energy conduit patterns and emitter configurations, their primary armaments appear to be particle beam arrays capable of planetary bombardment. Secondary systems include what appear to be kinetic projectile launchers and energy field manipulators of unknown function." The Admiral closed his eyes. Planetary bombardment weapons. The humans had built ships capable of destroying entire worlds. The Velkari had always considered their own planet-cracking capabilities to be the ultimate expression of military power. Apparently, the humans thought of such weapons as merely standard equipment. "Show me the propulsion analysis." The hologram changed to display the human ship's engine systems. What Kethmos saw made his blood run cold. The human vessel had not just kept pace with Zixtal-S scout ship during the chase. According to the sensor data, it had been barely trying. "Admiral," the computer continued, "the human propulsion system appears to manipulate space-time itself. Their maximum velocity is theoretical unlimited within local space. They could travel from one side of our empire to the other in a matter of days." Kethmos stood up and walked to the large window that looked out over his fleet. Hundreds of Velkari warships floated in the space around the command station, their crystalline hulls gleaming in the light of the system's twin suns. This fleet had been the terror of the galaxy for generations. Looking at it now, after seeing what humanity could build, it looked like a collection of toys, but the worst revelation was yet to come. "Admiral," his intelligence chief entered the chamber, "we have received additional reports that you need to see immediately." Kethmos turned from the window. "What kind of reports?" "Ships matching the description of the human vessel have been spotted throughout our territory over the past several months. We initially dismissed these sightings as sensor ghosts or misidentified asteroids. But now, reviewing them in light of Commander Zixtal-S encounter, we believe the humans have been observing us for much longer than we realized." The Admiral felt the universe tilt around him. The humans had not just discovered the Valkyrie. They had been studying them for months, learning about their technology, their tactics, their weaknesses. The encounter with Zixtal had not been first contact. It had been the moment when the humans decided to reveal themselves. How many sightings? Kethmos asked quietly. Over 30 confirmed reports across 15 different star systems. The ships appeared near mining operations, trade routes, and military installations. Each sighting lasted only a few hours before the ships vanished again. Kethmos sank back into his command chair. 30 ships. The humans had not sent one vessel to explore Valkyrie space. They had sent an entire fleet. And that fleet had been watching, learning, and preparing while the Valkyrie remained completely unaware of their presence. Sir, the intelligence chief continued, there is something else. We have intercepted communications from several other species in nearby sectors. They are reporting similar encounters with human vessels. The humans appear to be conducting systematic reconnaissance of every major civilization in this region of the galaxy. The implications hit Kethmos like a physical blow. Humanity was not just exploring space randomly. They were mapping the galaxy's political and military landscape with the precision of a military intelligence operation. They were identifying potential threats, studying alien capabilities, and positioning themselves for whatever came next. What do our scientists say about their technology? The Admiral asked. His chief scientist, an elderly Valkyrie named Vexan, stepped forward. Admiral, we have analyzed every aspect of the human ship that our sensors could detect. Their technology is not just advanced. It is fundamentally different from ours in ways that suggest a completely different approach to physics and engineering. Explain. Our ships are built around crystalline energy focus systems that amplify and direct power in specific patterns. This approach has served us well for centuries. But the humans appear to have developed adaptive technology that can change its function based on circumstances. Their ship's hull actually reconfigured itself during the encounter, optimizing for different tasks in real time. Kethmos leaned forward. You mean their ships can change shape? More than that, sir. Their ships can change purpose. Exploration. Vessel can become a warship. A transport can become a research station. A single human ship can fulfill multiple roles that would require our entire fleet to accomplish. The Admiral felt another wave of cold fear wash over him. The Valkyrie had built specialized ships for every task. Scouts for reconnaissance, warships for battle, transports for cargo, research vessels for science. But the humans had created ships that could do everything, making the Valkyrie fleet obsolete overnight. There is one more thing, Vexan continued hesitantly. Our analysis suggests that the ship Commander Zixtal encountered was not even a military vessel. What do you mean? The energy signatures and structural design indicate it was built for exploration and research, not combat. Its weapon systems appear to be defensive in nature. If this is what human science ships look like, we cannot imagine what their actual warships might be capable of. Kethmos stared at the hologram of the human ship, trying to process what he was hearing. The vessel that had terrified his best scout commander and could single-handedly defeat a Valkyrie battle fleet was essentially a human research ship. Their actual military vessels would be far more dangerous. For the first time in Valkyrie history, Admiral Kethmos gave an order that would have been unthinkable just days earlier. Issue immediate withdrawal orders for all military forces in sectors 12 through 18. Pull our fleets back to the core systems. Cancel all expansion operations in the outer territories. His staff stared at him in shock. The Valkyrie had never retreated from anything. They had never shown weakness to any enemy. But Kethmos knew that pride would not protect them from humanity's overwhelming technological advantage. Sir? His second-in-command asked quietly, what should we tell the other species in the affected sectors? Tell them the truth, Kethmos replied. Tell them that there is a new power in the galaxy, and that power is humanity. Tell them that the age of Valkyrie expansion is over. As his orders were transmitted across the Empire, Kethmos looked out at his fleet one more time. These ships had been the symbols of Valkyrie dominance for generations. Now they looked like relics from a simpler time when the galaxy was a smaller, safer place. Humanity had changed everything without firing a single shot. They had demonstrated that technological superiority could be more devastating than any weapon. And they had done it all while remaining completely peaceful, simply by existing and allowing themselves to be discovered. The balance of power in the galaxy had shifted forever, and every species would have to decide how they would adapt to the new reality of human presence among the stars. 6 months had passed since the encounter that changed everything. Dr. Chun sat in her expanded laboratory aboard the Retribution, surrounded by data that would have been impossible to imagine just half a year ago. Her desk was covered with analysis, reports, linguistic studies, and technological assessments from dozens of different alien species that humanity had encountered since that first meeting with Commander Zixtal. The galaxy had become a very different place. Chun picked up her morning coffee and looked out through the laboratory's viewing port. Outside, she could see 3 other human ships moving in formation with the Retribution. When she had first joined the crew 3 years ago, seeing another human vessel in deep space was extremely rare. Now, Earth shipyards were working around the clock to build new exploration vessels and expand humanity's presence among the stars. "Computer," she called out, "show me the latest diplomatic reports from the outer sectors." The wall display came to life, showing a map of the local galactic region. Different colored areas marked the territories of various alien civilizations. What struck Chen immediately was how much the map had changed since the Valkyrie encounter. Several alien empires had pulled back their borders significantly, while others had sent diplomatic messages requesting peaceful contact with humanity. The Valkyrie hegemony, once the largest military power in the region, now controlled less than half of their former territory. Their withdrawal had created a power vacuum that other species were scrambling to fill. But none of them wanted to risk the same fate as the Valkyrie by appearing threatening to humanity. Captain Rodriguez entered the laboratory, carrying his own cup of coffee and looking more relaxed than Chun had seen him in months. "Good morning. Doctor, any interesting developments overnight?" "Actually, yes," Chun replied, pointing to a section of the star map. "We received 3 more requests for scientific exchange programs. 2 from species we've never even heard of before." "Word is spreading faster than we can keep up with," Rodriguez nodded. This had become the new normal. Instead of humanity seeking out alien civilizations, the aliens were now actively trying to make contact with Earth, not for conquest or conflict, but for trade, scientific cooperation, and mutual protection. "What about the Valkyrie?" Rodriguez asked. "Any updates from Admiral Kethmos?" Chun smiled. The relationship between humanity and the Valkyrie had evolved in ways that nobody could have predicted. After their initial terror and retreat, the alien admiral had surprised everyone by sending a formal diplomatic message to Earth, instead of declaring war, or demanding that humans stay away from their territory. He had requested a meeting. "The admiral sent another cultural exchange proposal yesterday," Chun said. "He wants to send a team of Valkyrie scientists to study our adaptive technology systems. In return, they're offering to share their crystalline energy research." That's the 3rd proposal this month," Rodriguez observed. "I think they're more curious about us than afraid at this point." Chun had to agree. The initial fear that the Valkyrie had shown was gradually being replaced by scientific fascination. Their researchers were amazed by humanity's approach to technology development. Where the Valkyrie had spent centuries perfecting specific systems, humans had created technology that could evolve and adapt to new situations. The door to the laboratory opened, and Commander Park walked in with a datapad in his hands. "Dr. Chun, Captain, you need to see this. We just received a report from the exploration ship Endeavor. They've made contact with a species that specifically requested to meet with humans." Chun and Rodriguez exchanged glances. This was happening more and more frequently. Word of humanity's technological capabilities had spread throughout the galaxy, but so had stories of their peaceful intentions and scientific approach to exploration. What do we know about them? Chun asked. Park consulted his datapad. They call themselves the Nithara. They're an aquatic species from a water world about 40 light years from here. According to their message, they've been monitoring our diplomatic exchanges with other species and want to establish formal relations. Rodriguez was intrigued. What makes them special? They claim to have developed biotechnology that's far beyond anything we've seen. Living ships that can heal themselves, organic computers that can process information faster than our AI systems. They think our adaptive technology and their biotech could complement each other perfectly. Shun felt the familiar excitement of potential discovery. This was what made her work so rewarding. Every new species they encountered brought fresh perspectives and technologies that could benefit all of galactic civilization. There's something else, Park continued. The Nithara mentioned that several other species have formed what they're calling the Scientific Cooperation Alliance. It's a group of civilizations that want to share research and technology with each other, with humanity as the central coordinating species. Rodriguez raised an eyebrow. They want us to lead a galactic research consortium? Apparently so. They see humans as the most advanced technological species in the region, but also the most peaceful and cooperative. They think we'd be the perfect arbitrators for interspecies scientific projects. Chun walked over to the star map and studied the territories of the species that Park had mentioned. The Nithara, the Kelthari, the Varan, and several others were all located in different parts of the galaxy, but they had somehow coordinated to make this proposal to humanity. Captain, Chun said thoughtfully, I think we're witnessing the birth of something completely new. A galactic civilization based on cooperation rather than conquest. Rodriguez nodded slowly. When humanity had first ventured into deep space, they had expected to find either empty worlds or hostile aliens. Instead, they had discovered that their approach to technology and diplomacy was exactly what the galaxy needed. Most alien species had developed along paths of specialization and competition. They became very good at specific things, but they struggled to adapt when circumstances changed. Humanity's strength lay in their ability to learn, adapt, and integrate new ideas from other cultures. What's our response to the alliance proposal? Rodriguez asked. Earth Command is still discussing it, Park replied, but the preliminary response is positive. They think it could lead to unprecedented scientific advancement for everyone involved. Chun turned back to her research data. Over the past 6 months, she had learned more about alien biology and technology than she had thought possible. Each species brought unique solutions to universal problems. The Valkyrie-S energy manipulation techniques could revolutionize human power systems. The Kelthari's mineral processing methods could make asteroid mining far more efficient. The Varan-S atmospheric processors could help terraform new worlds for colonization. But the most important discovery was that the galaxy was not the hostile, competitive place that many had expected. Most alien species were peaceful explorers and researchers, just like humanity. They had been held back by the aggressive expansion of militaristic empires like the Valkyrie. With those empires now choosing cooperation over conquest, the entire galactic community could focus on advancement rather than defense. You know what I find most interesting? Chun said to her colleagues. 6 months ago, the Valkyrie thought they were the apex predators of the galaxy. Now they're sending us poetry. It was true. Along with their scientific proposals, the Valkyrie had begun sharing their art, music, and literature with humanity. Admiral Kethmos had personally written several pieces about the beauty of crystalline energy patterns that Ching found genuinely moving. Rodriguez laughed. I still can't believe that the same alien who was terrified of us is now asking if we want to attend a Valkyrie cultural festival. The transformation had been remarkable. Fear had given way to curiosity, which had led to respect and eventually to friendship. The same pattern was repeating with other species throughout the galaxy. Computer, Chun called out, project the current status of human diplomatic relations. The star map changed to show green lines connecting Earth to over 20 different alien civilizations. Each line represented active diplomatic, scientific, or cultural exchange programs. The network was growing every week as more species learned about humanity's peaceful intentions and advanced capabilities. "It's beautiful," Park observed. "We're not conquering the galaxy. We're connecting it." Chun nodded. Humanity had become the bridge between different alien cultures, facilitating cooperation and understanding that had never existed before. Their ships served as neutral meeting grounds where different species could share knowledge without fear of espionage or theft. As she returned to her work, Chin reflected on how much had changed since that first encounter with Commander Zixtel. The alien scout had expected to find either a primitive species or a potential threat. Instead, he had discovered something that the galaxy had never seen before. A technologically advanced civilization that preferred cooperation to conquest. The age of galactic empire building was ending. The age of galactic cooperation had begun, and humanity was leading the way into a future where the stars belonged to everyone.